My name is Grace Demas, and I am an ICU travel nurse now, but I got into working in an ICU in the trauma neuro kind of field, and I've been a nurse for about the last year and a half to 2 years. I started traveling through Atlas and with Jasmine Truba as my recruiter since April of this year, April 2023. I started doing triathlons when I was in college, and I got into it, ironically, on a bet with my dad, who used to do these things. And I've always done sports. I've always been very competitive. I just didn't compete in college. And I wanted to try something different. So I got into triathlons, which for those who don't know what they are, it's a swim, a bike, and a run in one race. All of the distances of each sport differ depending on how long the race is. So I started small, and as I started doing them, I just kept getting addicted to like longer and longer and longer races, with the Ironman being the pinnacle of triathlon racing. A full Ironman distance is a 2.4 mile open water swim, followed immediately by a 112-mile bike ride, and then completing it with a 26.2 mile run. And so training for that took years. Before that, I did, and I still do a lot of half Ironmans, which is incrementally just a split in half of everything. And so I've been doing those distance races for 3 years now, and actually qualified as an all-world athlete in 2023. So my most recent race that I had was at the end of June, and it was in southern Michigan, and it was a half Ironman distance, and I actually used one of my portion of the Atlas Adventure like money that I got towards athletic gear that I needed for this competition. I really wanted and needed another pair of cycling cleats. And so when I talked to Jasmine about this, I was like, is there any way that some of this can go towards the racing stuff I did? And so I actually bought the cleats right before the race. I got to the race, and it was like an unbearable thunderstorm all day long. The extreme weather changes throughout the day in southern Michigan were like a thunderstorm in the morning and delaying the race by 2 hours, swimming in Lake Michigan with incredible whitecaps, and completing that, getting onto the bike with 30-mile-an-hour winds for 56 miles, which was not for the faint of heart, and wondering how exactly the rest of the race was going to go. It started to clear out at the end of the bike. It was at least cloudy, so it wasn't maybe super, super hot, which was maybe the best part, except conveniently as soon as the run portion started, like the clouds parted, it was crystal clear, hot and humid and torturous. And so the last 13 miles was supposedly going to be in just like blistering sun, and it ended up a giant thunderstorm rolled into the end of the race. I think I was at mile 9 in the run when I realized how dark it was getting all of a sudden, and how quickly there was like a thunderstorm approaching over the lake. So I just like kicked it into high gear because I was like, I want to finish this race. I want to leave. I want to be done. I want to finish before they maybe canceled the race in case there's lightning. And so I finished the race barely. At least to me, it felt like barely. I ended up having a PR, so I finished like a personal record. So I finished faster than I had in another half Ironman before, and finished the race just in time for them to cancel the rest of the race, try and close everything down. There were tornado warnings. I threw everything in my car. I got my bike on top of my car, and I left. And I mean, among all of that, I was still working full time. The last time I did a full Ironman was last November. I have another full Ironman this September. And so for the next contract that I'm going to schedule, Jasmine already knows when that race is and the week that I need off around it, because for an Ironman, I truly need like a week to be there and like get used to everything. And then a couple days of recovering and learning to walk again before I get back to work. I am an Ironman. I love what I do. I love being a triathlete. I think it's so important, especially as anyone in healthcare can agree, that you got to find something to do outside of work, outside of your contract. It doesn't have to be Ironman racing like I do. It doesn't have to be anything that extreme. I'm enjoying time off right now in between contracts up at the lake house, and I'm going to spend the rest of my day out on the lake. And I think that everyone needs to find something like that.